program. We stay in the United States for our next story. The US State Department has ordered all its consular posts worldwide to begin additional vetting of any non-immigrant visa applicants seeking to travel to Harvard for any purpose, according to some reports. Such applicants include, but are not limited to, prospective students, faculty, employees, contractors, guest speakers, and to tourists, the cable said. The order also directs consular officers to consider questioning the credibility of the applicant if the individual's social media accounts are private and instruct them to ask the applicant to set their accounts to public. This comes after a US federal judge extended a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration's policy that would have prevented Harvard University from enrolling international students. Moreover, US President Donald Trump has called for a 15% cap on foreign students at Harvard University, escalating the situation. He's also repeated his demand that the university hand over a list of all its international students. Trump has also criticized the current figure of around 31% foreign enrollment, questioning where these students come from. He has warned that some could be troublemakers, quote, and suggested that American students are losing out on opportunities because of the high number of foreign admissions. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced plans to aggressively revoke visas of Chinese students. Rubio said the focus will be on those linked to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in sensitive fields like technology and defense. We're now joined by Gansham, who attended Harvard University. He's located in New Delhi with us now. Thank you very much, Mr. Tari, for joining us on the program. As someone who studied at Harvard, what is your reaction to this ongoing and developing situation?
Good evening, Thomas, to you and the viewers. There are three important things that are developing as we speak. One is that the message is to all international students that you are not welcome. And I think this message weakens the powerful place that United States has in thought leadership and leadership in research across the world. By targeting Harvard with this message, the administration is also sending a message to all universities. I graduated from Harvard in 2011 from the Harvard Kennedy School. I ran for the position of student president. The school had, just one school of the 14, had students from more than 100 countries. It takes enormous amount of foundational work of hundreds of years, enormous amount of thought leadership to bring together change makers, ideators who will shape the world from across the world and run classes that engage every student with diverse point of view. The current administrative efforts will weaken this leadership position that Harvard has.
Gansham, the Trump administration has obviously cited this as both the spread of anti-Semitism on campus and also a security threat. Is this policy really about security, or is it the political targeting of such elite universities like Harvard University?
I listened to President Alan Garber speak about this, and some of the words he mentioned were interesting. For example, one of the phrases he mentions is a cultural battle against the university. The world belongs to a culture of knowledge in an era of artificial intelligence. And if the administration or people in administration look at it as a cultural battle, it will weaken the pursuit of knowledge. The motto of Harvard is truth, veritas, and pursuit of knowledge is built on the foundation of truth. As far as the charges by administration, the administration America is a democratic country. People voted for the president. So it is well within its right to investigate any citizen, any institution, or any immigrant in the country. But when the goalposts shift, when the courts come into the play, when the arguments shift, one starts questioning the motive And that is what is confusing every student on the campus. Just when this argument was happening in the court, students were cherishing and celebrating their commencement. They were giving a standing ovation when President Gaba spoke about the message he wants to give through the commencement to every student at Harvard and across the world. I think the administration can potentially look at the precise nature of charges it wants to bring towards the university.
Yes, and we've also had, we live in a obviously modern era where social media plays a big part. Do you think there's any dangers in that being vetted? Obviously, you've just mentioned over 100 countries that you know of attended Harvard University at the time you were there. Is there problems that communication, that messaging could get a little bit muddy in this?
Students go to a top university full of ideas and ambition, and their ideas and ambitions are shaped by their views as they exchange with other students, by the academic foundations that they receive from professors in the university, and the interactions that happen. When you build suspicion among those students that what you express can be looked with suspicion, you start creating a domino effect that can take away the thought power that the university will eventually have. And I believe that when you start looking at the social media of students, where would this stop? Tomorrow with AI, you would start looking at the emails that students would have, the WhatsApp messages that they have, the iMessages that they have. Eventually, you may have a software that you would ask students to submit their phone to be able to determine, according to the software, whether your entire temperament and expression is pro a country or against a country. I don't think there's a way to stop it. I think the universities, the fact that a university has become a top international university means that thought leaders and ambitious, talented people across the world trust that university, the university system, and the society that has built that university. The fact that students from across the world come to Harvard is a testimony of the trust that students from across the world also repose in United States of America as being the foremost democracy in the world.
Yes, Gansham, let's go back. If you were sitting and making your decisions like you did, and this current administration, or these actions were going on, if you were applying today, picking your university today, would this policy, do you think, make you think twice about choosing America as a place to study?
Well, clearly the jury is still out there, but I believe that this repositions Europe and United Kingdom and probably Australia and even India as a major destination for people to come and study. And it also brings into question that how does democracy and pursuit of knowledge and academic freedom, how do they come together? I don't think that any country can hold freedom of speech, their constitutional obligations, without ensuring academic freedom in their campuses. And as this battle unfolds, I believe that the opportunity of thought leadership, attracting talent from across the world, attracting researchers from across the world, professors from across the world, may shift towards these other countries.
Gansham, Tari, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We now move on. China